We've done some crazy ones before, but this definitely is going to be like one of the most tragic and insane stories that I've ever seen. In fact, and I have to give a shout out to my daughter. She was the first person to alert me to this. She saw it on TikTok. She sent it to me immediately. Of course, once I started pulling news, this thing was all over the news. Did you guys hear about the 14-year-old who died after Brazilian butt lift and breast augmentation?
No, I have not. I don't get on TikTok.
You
though.
haven't? Okay. So this is the story of Paloma Arellano. This just happened like in the past month. This is very new. It's not something that's old. So Paloma is from Mexico, 14 years old, and apparently her mom and her dad are separated. So I mean, this story just gets wild from the start and gets worse. So her mom called her father, Carlos. I got a picture of Carlos and Paloma there. Throw up that last picture. Well, yeah, there. I mean, she's obviously younger than 14 in that picture, but that's the father, Carlos, and the daughter, Paloma. Carlos and the mom are separated. The mom calls Carlos and says, Paloma's got COVID. We're gonna go up to Durango in Mexico, which is apparently this mountain resort area, and we're just going to isolate while she recovers. Mm-hmm. He's like, okay, that sounds kind of weird, but sure, go ahead. Unbeknownst to the father, the mother in reality was taking Paloma to her boyfriend's, who is allegedly a surgeon, I don't know, plastic surgeon, a surgeon, clinic to get surgery. So her boyfriend is Dr. Victor Galindo, and he has a surgery clinic there in Durango, and he, without the father's consent, right? Because it's just the mom, performed a breast augmentation, liposuction, and Brazilian butt lift on this 14-year-old girl. So the details are a bit sparse about what exactly happened, but the news articles say that she at some point went into cardiac arrest and respiratory failure. So my thought process is, I don't know this, but since she had a Brazilian butt lift, we always talk about the risk of fat embolism. That's what most people die of when people die from Brazilian butt lifts, which is unfortunately not a ultra rare occurrence. So she ends up in the hospital, in the ICU, basically on life support. And she finally has to call the father, and she basically tells the father that Paloma got worse from COVID, and that's why she's in the ICU. Yeah, she's covering this up. Okay, so I don't think that Carlos was able to make it out to wherever they were at before Paloma died. It didn't specifically say that, but it did mention that he got to see her. Because the next thing it talks about is they were at the funeral, and the father at this point thinks that his daughter died of COVID.
Yeah.
And one of his family members mentions that, why did Paloma's breasts look so big? And so, because she was in the casket or whatever. And so he starts getting suspicious. So he told his wife that he wanted a moment alone with his daughter to say goodbye, and got everyone out of there, and then he did an exam on her and found that she'd had surgery. And so at that point, he obviously knew something was not right. And so he demanded they have an autopsy. He went to the local prosecutor and said, hey, my wife's covering this up. I think the surgeons covered it up. I think even the hospital is covering it up. So it basically looks like that the mom, along with the boyfriend surgeon, got the hospital to try to cover up what exactly happened to the daughter, because the hospital basically said that she died of respiratory failure, which, it gets very nebulous when you talk about cause of death when somebody has something like that, right? Mm-hmm. But they failed to mention that she'd had, a bunch of surgery. So this story is just beyond crazy. I mean, the local Mexican authorities suspended that guy's license like immediately. That Dr. Galindo or whatever his name was, basically said, you until we figure out what's going on, like, you can't practice medicine. I mean, and he also is potentially going to face criminal charges as well. The laws in Mexico are, a little bit more nebulous than here in the United States.
What is the mom going to get charged with?
I don't know.
Like,
I mean, that's a
like,
good question. I'm not even sure like
Oh my
what
gosh.
she would get charged with in the United States. I mean, probably child endangerment. I would suspect if she went and had surgery on the child without the father's knowledge or consent. I mean, I mean, there's a lot of really bad things in this case. I mean, first off, doing aesthetic cosmetic surgery on a child.
Yeah, underage.
I mean, that's just crazy. I mean,
I wonder, like, you have to, like, think if that little girl actually even wanted any of that stuff.
I don't know. I mean, it didn't mention that she was some rising social media star or something. Because now people are, people are quick to blame social media for this. I mean, I think there's a lot of blame to be handed out, starting with like the mom and the surgeon. And maybe social media. I mean, we don't know at this point if she was, begging to have these surgeries. But I mean, to me, the mom letting her do this is absolutely crazy, especially since the father, didn't know. I mean, it would be equally bad if the father was on board, but
Yeah.
it's even more bad that she did this behind the father's back. I mean, he was eventually going to find out, right?
But
how would he not know if she? I mean, how would he not figure out that she'd had surgery when he saw her the next time?
yeah.
I mean, it'd be obvious. I just don't know what their game plan was. And then the surgeon, I mean, I would never, and there's so many things that I wouldn't do in this case. One, I wouldn't do I mean, I don't even do Brazilian butt lifts on consenting adults. I sure would never do one on a child, but I wouldn't do a breast augmentation on a child, unless there was some congenital deformity. I've done a few of those where, say, for example, like a 15-year-old girl has one breast that's normally developed and one that's completely not, and like she can't wear clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's different. To me, that's almost more reconstruction. You're not trying to take something that's normal and make it better. You're trying to take something that's congenitally deformed and make it normal.
Yeah.
And so, and when you look, because a lot of these articles were like, oh, the rise in plastic surgery in kids, the overwhelming majority of those are surgeries like that, where, plastic surgeons trying to restore normalcy, not make something better aesthetically.
Right.
So I have like really big beef with this guy. I mean, I 100% think that he should lose his license, the surgeon, and actually face criminal charges. I mean, complications happen in surgery, but doing a Brazilian butt lift on a child is just, I mean, that's just like so far out of bounds that I can't recommend anything. But like, this guy needs to go to jail.
Right.
And potentially the mom. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I mean, it's tragic. I mean, a little girl died having something done that should never have been done. And just like all the deceit and the cover up. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if we ever do like a worse story than this, I mean, it would have to be something like insane. Like, this is just so, if I was the father, I'd be out for blood.
Yeah. Sue the hospital.
Yeah.
Get
Like
that doctor in jail. Get that mom in jail.
Yeah. Everybody needs to go to jail.
Straight to jail.
I mean, man, I don't even know what to make of all this.
That's crazy that like there was such a big difference on that girl and that everybody noticed it.
Yeah.
So it must have been drastic for that.
Well, I mean, you think about it. I mean, maybe she's like a developed 14-year-old, but I mean, not a lot of 14-year-olds, have large breasts. But maybe, I don't know. I mean,
like if she was like a normal sized 14-year-old, how in the world would she have had any kind of fat to put in her butt?
She wouldn't have. I mean, you're right. That's a very, very smart thing to say. I'm going to high five you for that because you're exactly right. I mean, she's
like when I was 14, I was just I was in gymnastics, but still like most like healthy 14-year-old girls
are not gonna have enough fat to like do a butt lift.
They
like it's
barely
the whole thing
even
is
probably
just insane.
have started their period.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just so crazy that this surgeon. I mean, I don't know if this guy was like a legit surgeon or. I mean, I don't know if he was just a doctor, if he's a surgeon, he's a plastic surgeon. I mean, Mexico's kind of the Wild West with like credentialing and stuff. So I mean, I don't know, but I mean. If this had happened in the United States, like 100% that doctor would be going to jail. Like there's no way that they would avoid it. I mean, it would be negligent homicide, I would think, on the doctor's part there. Because you're right. I mean, she never had a Brazilian butt lift. Almost certainly that's what killed her.
Yeah, for sure.
But but very, very tragic. All right, let me recap this real quick, Brennan. So today on Nip Talk, we actually discussed what I think is the most shocking, terrible segment I've ever done. It was about this 14-year-old little girl named Paloma who's in Mexico, whose mom, unbeknownst to her father, took her to get plastic surgery from her plastic surgeon boyfriend. This plastic surgeon, Dr. Galindo, performed a breast augmentation and Brazilian butt lift on a 14-year-old. Unfortunately, she had tragic complications, not super specific. I think she probably had a fat embolism based on what the news article said, went into cardiac arrest. Now, the story gets even worse from there because when the girl ended up in the hospital, the mother alluded to the dad that she was in there because of COVID complications and still never mentioned that she'd had surgery. It wasn't until the funeral, when relatives noticed that little Paloma's breasts were larger than they were, that they mentioned to the dad. He insisted that he had a moment of alone to say goodbye and actually did an exam and found that she'd had surgery and blew the lid off this entire crazy thing, with the mom covering it up, the surgeon covering it up, and even the hospital. This is absolutely insane. I absolutely think that both the mom and the surgeon should be in jail for what happened to this little girl. It is just absolutely unacceptable. Yeah, I just don't even know what to say about this. Just absolutely terrible. We'll try and follow up and see what happens with this really, really sad story.